There was a research which conducted by John B. Watson in the year 1920 that led to a new thought of psychological branch which was known as behaviorism, based on a simple theory of classical conditioning. Here, he applied, or rather enforced, a fear of rat to a 9-month-old boy called Albert. The experiment goes something like this. A 9-month-year-old boy is kept in a room with a white rat. This white rat is very friendly, roaming around without any stress, and the kid is also watching at that rat without any problem. And this inquisitive nature of the kid pushes him to catch the mice every time it roamed around him. So as soon as he comes close to it and as soon as he tries to touch the mouse, a bell is clanged and he gets a little startled. This reaction goes on for a long time and eventually he fears the white rat itself. Now in the same situation, they just remove the white rat and clang the bell without a rat being there. Now he gets terrified of the rat and starts crying even when there was no rat in the room. Going on to a later extent, we could find that the same feeling aroused in him when he saw some kind of a furry objects. Might be a rabbit, a teddy bear, or even some of the beards of some old few men. This experiment was an attempt to see if the fear can be transferred to other objects. This experiment also showed us that we can instill new behavior which might not have inherited. Watson believed that phobias lie outside the mind and is our environment. He thought that phobias were created and can be extinguished later. So staying with the idea of phobias and fears, let's try to understand and find a key to those anxious moments that we do not want to face in our lives. So what is a phobia? A phobia is an excessive irrational fear reaction. There is a deep sense of dread or panic when we encounter the source of this fear. Phobias are very specific. They might be genetical causes or environmental factors that can create phobias in our mind. Well, when it comes to kids, it's very normal for kids to fear of everything. It is noted scientifically that from age 0 to 2 years, they are very much startled to loud noises, strangers, and parent separation. From the age 3 to 6, they imagine ghosts. They are feared of darkness and strange noises. From the age of 7 to 16, they are basically feared of illness. They are feared of injuries and performance at the school. And when it comes to adults, obviously, we too have a lot of fears. First and foremost is their animal fear. People are feared of crawling insects, to crawling animals like that of snakes, to a bigger animal like elephants and others. Second one is natural environmental phobia, where people are scared of heights, people are scared of falling down from those heights. Then you have situational, where we have something called as claustrophobia, fear of closed spaces. And finally, blood injury phobia, which basically means that you're not able to see the blood and you fall down or you become very nervous when you see injuries around you. These phobias can lead to schizophrenia with visual or auditory hallucinations, delusions, and paranoia. Watson, behind in these observational behaviors, established the science of behaviorism, and he wanted to prove that all the behaviors was a result of a stimulus-response relationship. So if you put people in the right environment, you can certainly create a better way to train themselves. So the question is, why do we fear? So what are the factors of this phobic conditioning? First is observational learning. We acquire fear as a reflex through observing one or anyone showing fear to the same stimulus. Second is temperament. An organism's base level and emotional reactivity for the stimulation itself creates fear. Then we have preparedness, the tendency to associate something with the stimulus. And finally, the history of control. Having some control over the events in their minds and in their lives. This immunizes the organism or the person against a higher level of threat that are associated with strange new stimulus. Well, even if you are fearful, it is not that you cannot come out of those fearful experiences. On the same line, Mary Cover Jones in the year 1924 helped people overcome fears by performing a similar experimenting strategies on little Peter by using a bunny. Little Peter was very fearful of rabbits. So, in an experimental room, little Peter enjoyed his cookies, whereas the rabbit enjoyed its supper. And slowly and every day, he was exposed to the same rabbit, and eventually, over a few period of time, Peter was very comfortable holding the rabbit in his own hands. So technically, she counter-conditioned Peter with the fear of rabbits. Similarly, systemic desensitization meditative techniques by Joseph Wolpe, where he creates a hierarchy of fear, gradually addressing them through relaxation methods and by counter-conditioning, generalization and finally extension, help people to realize their fears and overcome their fears. Not just this, but there are also many ways to condition your immune response, your allergic reactions, even to treat something as bad as lupus. So you can try some of these strategies. 1. Face your fear. Make a list of all your fears ranging from 0 to 10. Now make a ladder. 0 being the fear which is addressable at this moment, to 10 where you are not even confident of addressing that issue. And then slowly every day practice from 0. Try to face your fear. Slowly move up the ladder with each month by month progress. Don't face everything together. Solve each of your fears and slowly try to address it. Second is to learn to be and stay calm. The simple breathing techniques during the fear can tone down the fearful factors. Go for a walk. Listen to some good music. See something that makes you smile. Eat something that makes you happy. And make sure that your senses are treated well. And finally, challenge your negative thoughts. People tend to overgeneralize their own situations. Overgeneralization frequently affects people with depression and anxiety. It is a way of thinking where you apply one experience to all the other experiences, including that in the future. So let's try to address our fears. Let's try to reduce our inquisitiveness over our fears, challenge them at and when it comes. Till then, take care. See you around.